There's a set of ideas that every political science student learns: social contract theory. Social contract theory is answering a very fundamental question. What makes governmental authority legitimate? If its authority isn't God-given, where does it come from? Why should you obey its laws? Well, Enlightenment philosophers like Hobbes and Locke thought that it acted like a contract. You obey the laws of the government because you made a contract with society, and you continued to consent to that contract, either explicitly or implicitly, because you continue to benefit from that society. We know that you consent because you don't go anywhere. You could leave, like you could go to the frontier, you could go to America. There was always some place you could go, some place uncultivated, unpopulated. Of course, we know that wasn't exactly true, but it was certainly a convenient fiction. Now, even if it were true, David Hume had this devastating critique of social contract theory. He said that nobody actually agreed to be in the country of their birth, and they didn't have much choice on where to go. It's more like they just woke up one day on a ship. It was like the social contract theorists were saying, well, you do have a choice. You could jump off that ship and head into the sea. Some choice. Hume, of course, meant this rhetorically. He was joking. But, well, today the joke has become a reality.
Okay, I am currently in international waters, the location of my future home. International waters where there are no laws other than the law of the sea.
You're hearing a clip from a documentary called The First Seasteaders. Chad Elwartowski wants to break his social contract and find a new frontier. He's a seasteader. They're like homesteaders, except they're out on the open waters.
Seasteading concept will be better governance. Your business will grow because you're actually in a system where there's smart systems as opposed to all the gridlock and horrible systems that current governments have. They have a monopoly on land, but they don't have a monopoly on sea.
The basic argument of seasteading is, we're done arguing. We don't want to do the slow, arduous work of politics like campaigning and converting and slowly changing our society. It's better to just do what we want to do and then see if that sticks. This is coming out of Silicon Valley startup culture. These are technologists who say they need to give our government a technological update.
We're still using government technology rooted in 2,000 years ago, representative democracy.
This is Patry Friedman, Milton Friedman's grandson.
But the United States is still using a constitution written over 200 years ago. If you drove a car from 200 years ago, it would be a horse.
Patry co-founded the Seasteading Institute in 2008. This is him explaining their ideas in a TED Talk-style thing back in 2011.
So let's put on our entrepreneur hats and let's think about the global government industry. Let's think about governance as a service. It's provided by retailers, countries, to customers, citizens.
Friedman's founding funder is Peter Thiel, the billionaire technologist who co-founded PayPal and Palantir. Thiel and Friedman think that democracy just isn't innovative enough.
From my Silicon Valley perspective, it's a business opportunity. I mean, what I've just described is an industry that's ripe for disruption by new competitors. Maybe a startup country could be the first trillion-dollar business.
Their argument is that we need new experiments in government, and through trial and error, we can come up with some new ideas and some new options. Chad Elwartowski got involved with the Institute in 2017, and he helped found Ocean Builders, an ocean innovation technology company. In 2019, Chad and his girlfriend did something that no one else in the seasteading world had managed to do. They actually built and moved onto a floating cabin off the coast of Thailand. But their techno-utopian dream was short-lived.
Family and friends of Chad Elwartowski fear his life is on the line. He and his girlfriend are now on the run after Thai police officials accuse them of essentially trying to lay claim to Thai territory with their floating house.
I guess Thailand never agreed that this was actually the frontier. So Chad and the Ocean Builders tried MS Satoshi. This was a self-titled crypto cruise. It failed. Now they're working on sea pods. That's a set of luxury dwellings off the coast of Panama. You can reserve one of them for $395,000 USD. Seasteading Institute Ambassador William Otley was drawn to seasteading because he wanted to turn his beliefs into action.
I came from the left and I came from the Democrat Party, and then I started to see a lot of the flaws in that. And over time, I found classical liberalism, which is, manifested to a large extent in the Libertarian Party. I don't consider myself a libertarian anymore because it's a political movement that seeks to take the United States government back to its originally authorized size and scope. That's how I would define it. I can't be part of that because I know, to me, it's an impossibility. In my opinion, there's absolutely no chance that's ever happening. It's become to the point where, to me, that government is little more than an organized crime syndicate.
William is experimenting with something he calls Ethos Island. He wants it to be an ocean-based city-state. He says it will be different from what happened in Thailand.
Part of the method that we've developed is we're not going to any government about anything. We want to have a seastead in international waters.
Ethos Island would run its government privately.
Private contractors would run all the different aspects of a government, whether it's a police force, even the judiciary. I would say especially the judiciary. When you have a private contractor, that private contractor, everything that they do, every scrap of money has to be transparent. The people who are going to be going on to the seastead are going to decide exactly what kind of governance that they want.
There are some legal issues with finding this next frontier. According to the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, international waters belongs to everyone and no one, which means you can't just lay claim to it. It's not clear that any other nation would recognize this startup city-state. Still, Ethos Island is hopeful. But the seasteading dream, for now, is still a dream.
As soon as you get out there and you've got 5 or 10 seasteads, there's going to be cross-pollination. If there's a multiplicity of new countries, of new nations, all of those countries will have their own forms of governance. And then an evolution of governance, which is so obviously needed right now in the world. I think almost everybody would agree with that. I don't care what your political philosophy is. It will allow for an evolution of governance and political philosophy to take place.
I think that was really, really the sea that everybody in Silicon Valley was swimming in, if they were involved in politics at that time, was like, we can build these alternatives. The stultifying machinery of American democracy is hostile to our expertise and our ability to build the future.
This is Sam Adler-Bell, co-host of the excellent podcast Know Your Enemy. It's a left-wing podcast doing deep dives on the right. Sam says that these seasteaders typified a kind of Silicon Valley right-wing politics. This was the politics that dominated during the 2000s and early 2010s. He calls it the politics of exit.
Let's go out to sea. Let's go to space. Let's exit from politics altogether. This sort of democratic process is not going to be the means by which we achieve this ideal rationalized capitalist society. Even talking about them now, they sound really utopian and a little bit silly. How soon can we get to Mars? Not very soon. Anarcho-capitalist barges out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean also it's a silly proposition.
Thanks for watching this clip from our 66th episode. It's called Technocracy Now! Part 3. To listen to the rest of my interview with Sam Adler-Bell and much more, click the link below, or just stay tuned and watch the next video.